Hi, I'm Susan Hersh from Meet the Experts. Fatherhood in America has really changed over the past 10 years. A lot of dads are actually co-parenting or they're the primary caregiver. We can say that the recession has had a lot to do with this, but a lot of fathers, they've made the choice. They want to be there. They want to be there for the first word or the first walk or even the first activity together because it's so life-changing. NYC Dads Group is a resource, like many, that's popping up all over the U.S. They are bringing dads together for support, also to attend events, have fun together, and also these dads are experiencing early childhood stages. Today I have Lindsey Horner, who is a member of the NYC Dads Group, with me, and he's going to be discussing his perspective on fatherhood. Hi, Lindsey. How are you? Thank you so much for having me in your home today.
Hi, Susan. You're very welcome.
So let's talk about the fact that a lot of guys think that they are very intuitive. And I'm curious, do you consider yourself intuitive? Do you like to read a lot of magazines and books for inspiration and information? Do you talk to other dads for guidance?
I consider myself more intuitive and commonsensical, I guess I would say. I don't really read many books, magazines. I have read some, especially when my son was an infant. But generally, I follow my instincts and get what I can from the people around me.
And the people around you would be Andrea, your wife, which you do have a co-parenting relationship. What is your ratio of contribution? How would you describe that? And also, how do you balance the responsibilities with Andrea in taking care of Emmett, your son?
It's pretty close, I would say. I probably am with him a bit more. Might be 60-40, 55-45, something like that. It'd be pretty close.
So for stay-at-home moms, since you know a majority of women, do you feel comfortable calling them up and setting up play dates? Or is it kind of awkward that you would be changing diapers and hanging out with moms during the day?
Oh, no, not at all. I haven't found that to be the case at all. I mean, like I say, I've gotten to know a number of the moms in the neighborhood and around, and nannies, and we'll set up play dates, we'll set up a time and place to meet out in the park or whatever, and I have never found it to be awkward.
So what has been the greatest challenge thus far with you raising Emmett?
The greatest challenge? Well, time management, in that we're both self-employed, and therefore it's not like we get up at the same time every day, go to the same job at the same time, make the same money every week. So the time issue, we have to constantly communicate, like what's going to happen today, or a week from Thursday at 5 p.m, I need to do X, therefore you need to take over at that time. I mean, right now, as we speak, my wife is minding Emmett, so
that we had to have this interview.
So we had to set that up ahead of time, and I'm going to have to take over later, so that she can do some work.
So tell me, what tricks can you share with other parents as far as raising children or raising a son? Like, do you have anything about keeping him happy or sleep issues? Some children have sleep issues, or development skills. Can you pass on any interesting tips?
Really, only the most general sense. We give him a lot of time, we give him a lot of love, and we communicate with him, and we communicate with each other, and we just try to be honest and open with him as much as we can, and look ahead. Try to head off problems before they occur. He's a great little guy. I know every parent thinks that, or they should think that, but he's very agreeable for the most part, and he's never difficult just for the sake of being difficult, even though he's now in the so-called terrible twos. When he gets upset, there's always a reason, and we can usually find out what it is and do something about it. I won't regale you with all the many stories and examples of that, but...
Well, I can tell you today, he's not the terrible twos. He's a pleasure. And I thank you so much for spending time with me and sharing your perspective on fatherhood. I think it's very important that women can also be able to hear from men today what it's all about as far as raising children in America. So I thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
My next guest is Gilbert Ramos, also a member of the NYC Dads Group. He's a stay-at-home dad with his daughter, Sage. Hi, Gilbert.
Hi, Susan. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me in your home today.
No problem. My pleasure for you to be here.
This is really fascinating to me. Gilbert and his wife, Jahara, actually hired a sleep consultant to come in and watch their daughter, Sage. What was the reason for this, and what did you wind up actually implementing as far as recommendations?
Well, my wife and I noticed that Sage had an inconsistent sleep pattern, and it was getting kind of tough. She would sleep 3 to 4 hours at a time, but nothing really solid, and we felt she could definitely get more. So we got the consultant. From there, she observed her. At the same time, even before the consultant, Sage had been sleeping with us for about a year in the same bed with us as well. So it's kind of double trouble with that situation.
Right, if she was up every 3 to 4 hours, that meant that you and your wife were up also.
Even less sleep, yes, definitely. So the consultant came in, reviewed what she noticed after a couple hours of checking on Sage during her sleep patterns and things that she would normally do. She gave us a program to follow. Since then, we of course turn off any lights in there. If there are any lights that are visible, LED kind of lights, we put cloths over them so it doesn't stimulate her in any way. We then implemented her into her own crib after a year of being with us at the same time. Since that time, Sage has been sleeping from 7:30 in the evening till 7:30 in the morning.
That's amazing. I mean, having 3 to 4 hours of sleep and then all of a sudden now going to a 12-hour cycle. That's like a lot of parents can't even get their children to adhere to 8 hours of solid sleep. In the conversations that we've had, Gilbert,
Yes.
It seems like you were really involved with the paternity process way before Sage was even born, and I think that's really interesting that you got yourself involved in the trenches ahead of time. I want to talk to you about the programs that you went to, the different classes that you took.
Sure. With Jahara, of course, us expecting our first child, I wanted to do anything and everything possible, so I wanted to go to every doctor's appointment. We also enrolled in the Bradley Way method, which is also a natural childbirth method. It's
Opposite
fantastic.
of Lamaze, though, because Lamaze is breathing.
Yes.
And this is
the
a
Bradley
muscle.
Way is more of a relaxation, but really it's about having an active partner, someone there with you to guide you the whole way. So it makes it that much more confidence for you and your partner.
So I'm going to go into the bathroom situation because I know that this is a big pet peeve with a lot of gentlemen out there. As far as finding it to be discriminatory where you don't have a changing table for Sage in the gentleman's room. So let's talk about some of your experiences.
Yes, I kind of found that out rather easily too, because it seems that these days, however far it's been this long, that they don't have changing tables in really majority of the men's rooms. It's predominantly the women's rooms. So, for instance, we're traveling to Florida, just visiting some family, and Basic Mall. We were traveling, nice place to visit, but we had to use the bathroom for Sage's purposes, and
A
I
major
couldn't
public
do it.
facility.
Yes, large to handle many different amount of people in at the same time, but finding a place to do it with my daughter just didn't happen, and the men's room was not available to have the capacity to do that. So I, of course, have to refer then to my wife, who then takes on the duties on her own.
And I want to move into your schedule because it is fierce. I mean, this guy lives on maybe 6 hours of sleep. I want to know, how do you balance everything with Jahara's work schedule and your personal schedule at Equinox? Let's talk about your schedule a little bit.
Well, I'm a personal trainer, so I'm normally at the gym. Right now it's part-time because I am the primary caretaker for my child. So I get up at 4 in the morning, get to work for my first client at 6, try to do 2 clients right now. I'm out of work by 8:10 the latest, get home by 9, in which Jahara would have had Sage for the morning, this kind of shift, if you want to say. She's prepared to go to work once I step in the door, and we see her later on that evening. So it's my daughter and I the rest of the day till about 7 o'clock in the evening.
What have you found to be the most beneficial as far as joining the NYC Dads Group?
The most beneficial, I'd say overall, just joining the group to have that experience of being a father with a bunch of other dads and really building up a camaraderie with just that you're all in the same situation, and the different progressions that everyone makes it's amazing, and it's a learning situation at all times when you meet, and just every day you're living and being a father or being a parent in general.
Well, you rock, man, and I thank you so much for spending your day with me, and your daughter is absolutely adorable.
Well, thank you very much, Susan. My pleasure again having you come here, and we can have you here anytime you prefer to come.
I'll be your next babysitter.
Thank you very much, Susan.
Until the next time, I'm Susan Hersh from Meet the Experts.